People who say, no problem.
There's a phrase people use that sounds relaxed, friendly, and reassuring. No problem. It's meant to remove tension, to signal that everything is fine, that nothing needs to be addressed, and most of the time it works. No problem feels casual, easygoing, like the situation is officially closed. But the phrase often appears right after something went wrong, a delay, an inconvenience, a small disappointment. And while the words sound calm, the moment doesn't always feel that way. Because when someone says no problem, you're never completely sure if it really wasn't one.
Usually, no problem shows up after an apology. Someone says they're late, someone cancels, someone explains why something didn't happen, and the response comes quickly. No problem. It sounds kind, forgiving, emotionally mature. There's no follow-up, no questions. The moment feels resolved. And because of that, the conversation moves on, at least on the surface, because no problem closes the situation without checking if the feeling behind it was resolved too.
The issue isn't saying no problem once. It's when it becomes the default response. Delays repeat, plans change, small inconveniences stack up, and every time the same phrase appears, no problem. Not because there was no problem, but because it feels easier than addressing it. Over time, the phrase stops signaling understanding and starts signaling disengagement. It becomes a way to move past moments without actually processing them, and that pattern quietly settles in.
For the person hearing it, no problem can feel unclear. Was it really fine, or was it just easier to say so? Because nothing else is expressed, there's no room to understand what was felt. The phrase smooths the interaction, but it also flattens it. And when this happens often enough, people stop explaining themselves and start assuming everything is acceptable, even when it isn't. That quiet assumption slowly changes how conversations feel. Most people don't say no problem to dismiss what happened. They say it because it feels polite. It avoids making the other person uncomfortable. It avoids creating guilt. And it avoids turning a small issue into a bigger one. No problem sounds emotionally controlled. It signals patience, flexibility, understanding. But it also asks the speaker to absorb the inconvenience silently. And over time, that silence creates distance, not conflict, just emotional space.
At some point, you recognize the phrase immediately. You hear, no problem, and you pause. Sometimes you're the one saying it. Sometimes you're the one hearing it. Either way, it carries the same feeling. Not relief, just quiet dismissal.
No problem isn't a bad phrase. It sounds friendly, relaxed, easy to say. But it's another example of how modern communication chooses smoothness over honesty. Words that make interactions easier without acknowledging what was felt. And somehow, without discussion, this became completely normal. So the question remains, who approved this?